You know what's interesting? Most folks would never think to question kindness. It's like questioning sunshine or clean water. But I'm here today to tell you something that might shake up your thinking a bit. Sometimes too much of a good thing can actually hold you back. And yes, that includes kindness. Now, don't get me wrong. Kindness is wonderful. It's one of those things that makes life worth living. But like anything else in life, it needs balance. It needs wisdom behind it. Otherwise, that very kindness can become the chain that keeps you from reaching your full potential. I've watched people for decades now, studied success and failure, and I've noticed something fascinating. Some of the kindest people I know are also the ones struggling the most in life. Not because kindness is bad, but because they've never learned to balance kindness with personal strength. That's what we're going to talk about today. Not about becoming unkind. Never that, but about making sure your kindness comes from a place of strength, not weakness. About making sure your kindness lifts you up rather than holds you back. Let me tell you what happens when kindness goes too far. When it crosses that line from virtue to vice. You see, when you're too kind, when you say yes to everyone, when you put everyone else first all the time, you send a message to yourself and to the world. And that message, I don't matter as much as everyone else. That's a dangerous message to internalize. What happens when you're too kind? You become everyone's doormat. Your time gets filled with other people's priorities. Your energy gets drained by other people's problems. Your resources get spent on other people's needs. And at the end of the day, at the end of the week, at the end of your life, what's left for you and your dreams? I've seen it time and again. Good people, kind people with incredible potential, who never achieve what they're capable of because they gave everything away. They had the talent, they had the intelligence, they had the opportunity, but they lacked the boundaries that would protect their dreams. Think about it. When someone asks for your help, what's your automatic response? For many, it's an immediate yes. You don't even think about it. You don't consider your own schedule, your own needs, your own goals. You just say yes because you've been taught. That's what good people do. But what if that automatic yes is the very thing sabotaging your future? What if that habit of always putting yourself last is why you're not where you want to be? Here's something crucial to understand. There's a world of difference between kindness and weakness. True kindness comes from a position of strength. It's a choice made by someone who knows their worth, who has clear boundaries, and who gives from their overflow, not from their essence. Weakness disguised as kindness comes from fear. Fear of rejection, fear of conflict, fear of not being liked. It's saying yes when you want to say no. It's agreeing when you actually disagree. It's going along to get along. Let me ask you, when was the last time you said yes to something and immediately regretted it? When was the last time you agreed to help someone and then resented them for asking? That's not kindness. That's weakness wearing kindness's clothes. True kindness feels good. It energizes you. It's joyful. Weakness disguised as kindness feels bad. It drains you. It builds resentment. If you find yourself feeling resentful after helping others, that's a clear sign that your kindness isn't coming from the right place. It's coming from that place of weakness, of fear, of not valuing yourself enough to set proper boundaries. That's the truth that might be hard to hear. People can tell the difference. They can sense when your yes comes from genuine kindness and when it comes from an inability to say no. And they respond accordingly, often by asking for more and more until you have nothing left to give. Remember this. No one values what you give away too freely. What costs you nothing is worth nothing to others. When you say yes to everything, your yes becomes meaningless. This brings us to one of the most important concepts in personal development. Boundaries. Personal boundaries are like the walls of your home. They define where you end and others begin. They protect what's precious to you. They keep out what would harm you. Without strong, clear boundaries, you're like a house with no walls, exposed to every passing storm, vulnerable to anyone who wants to walk through. Many kind people have weak boundaries or no boundaries at all. They believe setting boundaries is selfish, that it goes against being kind. Nothing could be further from the truth. Boundaries aren't selfish. They're necessary. They protect your time, your energy, your resources, so that you can use them wisely, investing them where they'll do the most good, both for you and for others. When you lack boundaries, you end up spread too thin. You try to please everyone, and in the end, you please no one, least of all yourself. You become ineffective, exhausted, and that resentment eventually leaks out, poisoning the very relationships you were trying to nurture with. I want to tell you a story about a man I once knew. Let's call him the kindest man in town. Everyone liked him because he never said no. Need help moving. He was there. Need to borrow money. His wallet was opened. Need someone to listen to your problems? He'd sit with you all day. He was known for his kindness, but he was also known for something else. He never finished anything he started. His own house was half renovated. His own business was barely staying afloat. His own dreams were always someday dreams. One day I asked him, "What happened to that book you were writing?" He smiled that tired smile of his and said, "Oh, I just haven't had time. Too many people need my help." 20 years passed. He helped hundreds of people move into new homes while his own home remained unfinished. He helped dozens of businesses with free advice while his own business struggled. He listened to countless people's dreams while his own dreams gathered dust. And then one day, he got sick, really sick. And guess what? All those people he'd helped over the years, most were too busy to help him back. Not because they were bad people, but because he'd trained them to see him as a resource to be used rather than as a person to be respected. That's the danger of kindness without wisdom. It creates one-way relationships. It trains people to take from you rather than exchange with you. It sets you up to give and give until you have nothing left. Now, here's a fundamental law of lives. Everything valuable operates on an exchange. This is the value equation I talk about so often. If you want to receive, you must give. But the reverse is also true. If you want to keep giving, you must also receive. Think about it. A business that gives products without receiving payment goes bankrupt. A relationship where one person gives love and the other only becomes toxic. A body that expends energy without replenishing it gets sick. The same principle applies to kindness. Kindness that continuously flows out without equivalent value, coming back in, is unsustainable. It's not just unsustainable, it's unhealthy. This doesn't mean you should keep score or only be kind to those who can repay you. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I am saying is that you need to make sure there's balance in your life overall. That for all you give out, you're also allowing good things to come back to you. Many kind people struggle with receiving. They're comfortable in the giving position, but uncomfortable when it's time to receive. They deflect compliments. They minimize their achievements. They refuse help even when they desperately need it. That sounds like you. I want you to realize something important. Refusing to receive is just as unbalanced as refusing to give. Both break the natural cycle of exchange that makes life work. Let's talk about another precious resource that too much kindness can squander. Time. Time is the great equalizer. No matter who you are, how rich, how poor, how talented, how ordinary, you get the same 24 hours each day as everyone. What separates the successful from the unsuccessful is not how much time they have, but how they choose to use that time. When you say yes to everything and everyone because you're too kind to say no, you're giving away your most valuable resource. You're letting other people decide how your precious, limited time will be spent. Think about that. Would you let a stranger walk into your house and take your money? Probably not. Yet many of us let strangers, or even friends and family, walk into our lives and take our time without a second thought. Every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. When you say yes to helping someone with their project, you're saying no to working on your own. When you say yes to that meeting, you don't need to attend. You're saying no to time with your family or time to take care of your health. Being too kind with your time means you end up with no time for the things that matter most to you. And at the end of your life, will you look back and be proud that you attended all those meaningless meetings? Or will you regret the dreams you never pursued, the relationships you neglected, The life you didn't fully live? This is why learning to say no is one of the kindest things you can do for yourself and ultimately for others too. Because when you protect your time and use it wisely, you can achieve more, create more value, and ultimately have more to give from a place of abundance rather than scarcity. Now let's talk about another dangerous aspect of excessive kindness: self-sacrifice. Our culture often glorifies self-sacrifice. We celebrate those who give up everything for others. And in certain contexts, like parents caring for children or soldiers protecting their country, self-sacrifice can indeed be noble as a day-to-day way of living. Self-sacrifice is usually counterproductive. It's like constantly draining your car's gas tank to fill other people's cars, and then wondering why you can't get anywhere yourself. Here's a truth that might seem paradoxical at first. The best way to help others in the long run is to develop yourself first, to become the strongest, most capable, most resourceful version of yourself possible. Think about it. Who can help more people? A doctor who sacrificed their education to help others in the short term, or a doctor who completed their education and can now heal thousands over their career? Who can feed more hungry people? Someone who gives away their seed corn and can't plant next year's crop, or a farmer who plants, harvests, and creates abundance year after year. This principle applies in all areas of life. By developing your talents, building your resources, protecting your health, and growing your wisdom, you become more capable of meaningful kindness, not less. Self-development isn't selfish. It's the foundation of sustainable service to others. It's the difference between giving someone a fish and building a thriving fishing business that can feed a village indefinitely. So many kind people get this backwards. They give and give until they're depleted, thinking that's what kindness requires. But true kindness, wise kindness, includes being kind to yourself. It includes making yourself strong. So your kindness comes from abundance rather than scarcity. Remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't give what you don't have. You can't light others' candles if your own flame has gone out. These brings us to an essential concept: becoming a person of value. This has been a cornerstone of my teaching for decades, and it applies perfectly to our discussion of kindness. Before you can give great value to others, you must become valuable yourself. You must develop skills, wisdom, resources, health, and character. You must invest in yourself first, not out of selfishness, but out of a desire to have more to give. Think of yourself as a fruit tree. A young fruit tree doesn't immediately start giving away all its energy as fruit. First, it develops its roots, grows its trunk, extends its branches, and builds a strong foundation. Only then can it produce fruit abundantly, season after season, without depleting itself. Too many kind people try to give fruit before they've developed strong roots. They try to serve others before they've built their own foundation, and the result is predictable. They burn out, break down, or become bitter because they've given more than they sustainably could. Building yourself into a person of value takes time and focus. It requires saying no to some immediate opportunities to serve so you can say yes to your long-term development. It might look less kind in the moment, but it leads to much greater kindness over the course of a lifetime. This isn't about becoming selfish. It's about becoming strategic with your kindness. It's about playing the long game rather than the short game. It's about sustainable impact rather than momentary approval. Let's distinguish between healthy kindness and unhealthy kindness, because they lead to very different results. Healthy kindness comes from choice, not compulsion. It's thoughtful, not automatic. It considers the true needs of the recipient, not just their wants. It respects your own needs and boundaries. It aims for the greatest good in the long term, not just a momentary good feeling. Unhealthy kindness, on the other hand, comes from fear, guilt, or habit. It's reactive, not proactive. It gives people what they ask for rather than what truly serves them. It ignores your own legitimate needs. It focuses on short-term relief rather than long-term growth. Healthy kindness empowers both the giver and the receiver. Unhealthy kindness often enables dysfunction and creates dependency. Let me give you an example. If someone is struggling financially, unhealthy kindness might mean repeatedly giving them money whenever they ask. This relieves their immediate distress, but does nothing to address the root causes of their financial problems. Healthy kindness might mean helping them develop a budget, connecting them with job opportunities, or even declining to give money so they're motivated to solve their own problems. It might feel less kind in the moment, but it's far more helpful in the long run. The same principle applies in all areas of life. Healthy kindness thinks long-term. It considers consequences. It aims to truly help, not just to alleviate guilt or avoid conflict. So how do we practice healthy kindness? How do we be kind without letting kindness hold us back? Here are some practical strategies. First, develop strong, clear boundaries. Know what you will and won't do. Know where your responsibilities end and others begin. Be willing to communicate these boundaries clearly and calmly, without apology or aggression. Second, practice thoughtful, not automatic giving. Before you say yes to a request, pause. Ask yourself, is this the best use of my time and resources? Will this truly help the other person in the long run? Can I give this freely, without resentment? If the answer to any of these questions is no, that's a sign you should probably decline. Third, become comfortable with the word no. Practice saying it kindly but firmly. Remember that no is a complete sentence. You don't need to over-explain or justify your boundaries. A simple "I'm sorry, I can't take that on right now" is sufficient. Fourth, value your own time and energy. Schedule time for your priorities first, before you give your time away to others. Just as you'd put on your own oxygen mask before helping others on an airplane, you need to secure your own fundamental needs before trying to meet everyone else's. Fifth, seek balanced relationships. Be wary of one-way relationships where you're always giving and the other person is always taking. Healthy relationships involve mutual give and take, mutual respect, mutual appreciation. Six, give where it counts. Not all giving opportunities are created equal. Some will leverage your unique talents and create enormous value. Others will waste your gifts and produce little return. Be strategic about where you invest your kindness for maximum impact. Seventh, develop yourself relentlessly. Remember, the more valuable you become, the more value you can give to others. Invest in your skills, your knowledge, your health, your character, your resources. This isn't selfish. It's the foundation of sustainable service. Let's talk more about the power of saying no. For many kind people, this simple word feels almost impossible to say. They'll twist themselves into knots, overcommit, exhaust themselves, all to avoid saying that one small word. But here's the truth. No is one of the most powerful words in your vocabulary. It protects your time, your energy, your focus, your priorities. It prevents overcommitment and burnout. It keeps you true to yourself and your most important values. Every significant achievement requires saying no to 1,000 distractions. Every focused effort requires saying no to dozens of side paths. Every deep relationship requires saying no to countless shallow ones. If you can't say no, you can't say yes in any meaningful way. Your yes becomes empty because it's not a choice. It's just your default response to everything. Learning to say no kindly but firmly is a skill that takes practice. It might feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you've built your identity around always saying yes. But with time, it gets easier. And the results? More energy, more focus, more achievement, more meaningful impact. Make it well worth the initial discomfort. When you're considering whether to say yes or no to a request, ask yourself these questions. Does this align with my values and priorities? Do I have the time and energy to do this well? Will saying yes to this mean saying no to something more important? Will I feel resentful if I agree to this? These questions can help you make more conscious choices about where you invest your kindness, rather than scattering it indiscriminately. Now let's talk about building strength alongside kindness, because that's really what this is all about. Not becoming less kind, but becoming more strong. Strength and kindness are not opposites. In fact, they enhance each other. Kindness without strength becomes weakness. Strength without kindness becomes harshness. The ideal is to develop both, to be both strong and kind. What does strength look like? It looks like clear boundaries. It looks like the courage to face conflict when necessary. It looks like the discipline to do what's right, not just what's easy or approved of. It looks like the confidence to stand your ground when needed. It looks like the wisdom to think long-term, not just short-term. Building these qualities doesn't happen overnight. It's a process, a practice, a daily choice to value truth alongside harmony, to value effectiveness alongside agreeableness, to value real help alongside momentary comfort. As you develop these qualities of strength, your kindness becomes more powerful, more impactful, more transformative. You become the kind of person who doesn't just make others feel good temporarily, but who helps them become better permanently. That's the difference between weak kindness and strong kindness. Weak kindness makes people feel good, but keeps them dependent. Strong kindness might be challenging in the moment, but helps people grow and become more capable. Which kind of kindness do you want to embody? Which kind of kindness will create the legacy you want to leave? Now, I want to challenge you. Over the next week, pay attention to your automatic yes responses. Notice when you agree to things out of habit or fear rather than genuine desire. Notice when you put your own legitimate needs last. Notice when you feel resentment creeping in after helping someone. These are all signs that your kindness might be coming from weakness rather than strength. There are opportunities to practice a new way of being kind, but also strong, generous, but also boundaried, helpful, but also discerning. Try saying no to one request that doesn't align with your priorities. Notice how it feels. Notice the consequences. Was it as bad as you feared? Probably not. In fact, you might find that people respect you more, not less, when you demonstrate that you value your time and energy. Try scheduling time for your own priorities first, before responding to others' requests. See how much more you accomplish when you protect your most important work. Try giving help that truly serves others' long-term good, even if it's not exactly what they're asking for. Notice the difference between enabling dependency and empowering capability. These small shifts can start to transform your relationship with kindness. They can help you move from weak kindness that holds you back to strong kindness that propels both you and others forward. Remember, your life is your own. Your time is limited. Your energy is precious. Your talents are unique. Yes, be kind, but be kind in a way that honors these truths rather than ignoring them. Be kind in a way that's sustainable, not depleting. Be kind in a way that's wise, not naive. Be kind in a way that elevates you and others rather than diminishing you both. The world doesn't need more doormats. It needs more strong, capable, resourceful people who can make a real difference. It needs people who are both kind and effective, both generous and boundaried, both helpful and wise. You can be that person. You can practice that higher form of kindness that doesn't hold you back, but rather propels you forward, that doesn't diminish your light, but rather magnifies it so it shines farther and helps more people. This is the great balance we all must find in life, the balance between giving and receiving, between helping others and developing ourselves, between sacrifice and self-care, between kindness and strength. Find that balance, and you'll discover a whole new level of impact and fulfillment. You'll become not just a kind person, but a truly effective force for good in the world. And isn't that what kindness is really all about in the end? Not just feeling good or looking good, but doing good, real, substantial, lasting good that makes a genuine difference. So go out there and be kind, but be strong in your kindness. Be wise in your kindness. Be strategic in your kindness. Put boundaries around your kindness so it becomes more powerful, not less. Your time matters. Your dreams matter. Your needs matter. And when you honor these truths alongside your desire to help others, you'll find that sweet spot where kindness and effectiveness meet, where generosity and achievement aren't opponents, but partners in creating the life and impact you were born for. Let me leave you with this final thought. The greatest gift you can give to the world isn't unlimited access to your time and energy. It's the fully developed version of yourself, someone who has built strength alongside kindness, wisdom alongside generosity. You see, most people never reach their potential because they're too busy responding to everyone else's needs. They scatter their energy so widely that they never focus it enough to create something truly meaningful. Don't make that mistake. Your kindness matters. It makes a difference. But how you express that kindness, that's what determines whether it lifts you up or holds you back. Kindness with boundaries is powerful. Kindness with discernment is wise. Kindness with self-respect is sustainable. That's the kind of kindness I'm challenging you to develop. Start asking yourself better questions. Not just how can I help, but how can I help in a way that honors my own path too? Not just what do others need, but what does the world need that my unique gifts can provide? Not just how can I be nice, but how can I create real value? These questions will guide you toward a higher form of kindness, a form that doesn't require self-erasure, a form that combines compassion with strength, giving with growth. Remember, you're not on this earth just to make other people comfortable. You're here to make a difference. And sometimes making a difference means being willing to say no to good things so you can say yes to great things. It means being willing to disappoint people in the short term so you can serve them better in the long term. The world is full of people who will take everything you're willing to give, who will use your kindness for their convenience, who will happily let you sacrifice your dreams for their comfort. Don't resent them for it. That's human nature. But don't enable it either. Instead, decide today to practice kindness from a position of strength, to give because you choose to, not because you're afraid not to help in ways that truly serve, not just ways that temporarily please. This shift, Eber, from weak kindness to strong kindness, will transform not just your results, but also your relationships. People actually respect boundaries. They value what costs something. They appreciate help that comes freely, not reluctantly. So go forward with both kindness and courage. Be generous, but also be wise. Care for others, but also care for yourself. Give abundantly, but also receive gratefully. And find that balance. And you'll discover what I learned long ago, that true kindness doesn't hold you back. It propels you forward, but only when it's paired with the strength to stand your ground, the wisdom to choose your battles, and the courage to sometimes put yourself first. That's how you turn kindness from a chain into a wing. That's how you ensure that your goodness becomes your strength, not your limitation.